Hey, welcome to the show. I'm Yanni Rude.
And I'm just Terrell. You ever been out somewhere and overheard two people having crazy conversations?
Yeah, well, that's us. We've been doing this since college.
Yep, it's the Regular Guys Random Thoughts podcast, 90 Day Fiance, Love in Paradise, Season 3 recap of episodes 2, which is Rump Shaker, and episode 3, Baby One More Time.
You know,
Be sure to like, subscribe, rate, and leave a review.
This is
That was a mouthful.
This is that's what she said. This is exactly what it would look like if you were reading a teleprompter. 90-day fiance. Well, like you said, we're doing 2 episodes this week because obviously last week Brother Man was out working on his tan, so I wasn't available. So here we are doing episodes 2 and 3 this week, and then we'll be back on our regular schedule again starting next week. So before we get into these 2 episodes, just real quick, how you feeling about the show? You're 3 episodes in, and for those of you who, and if you're new to the show, because some of you know this, and some of you just may need a reminder as to the big thing with Terrell. Terrell's not a really big fan of reality TV, okay? Way back in the day, he made a deal with the devil, said he'd never do reality TV or watch reality TV until there was a black bachelor. Pandemic hit. ABC says, let's give the black guy a shot. And lo and behold, we had our first black bachelor, so he was stuck watching it, me being the good friend that I am. I watched it with him. And then him being the good friend that he is. Thank you. He decided he'd watch one of my favorite shows, Married at First Sight. Season 13 is where we started, and he's been hooked ever since. Still fighting it, acting as if he doesn't like it, but here we are in the 90 Day Fiance universe. Welcome again.
This is going to be a very painful season because it's like these are like characters. Like I don't even believe that there's real romance and love in this story. This is just like I can't put my finger on it. The more I'm meeting these people and I'm like listening to their story, I'm like, you got to be shitting me. Like this is real. So it's gonna be fun to make fun of. I can tell you that. But man, do they have some characters on this?
I can tell you from the behind the scenes doing radio, and I could write for one of these shows, actually, to be quite honest. I really could. JD says, hi, guys. I was the first to like tonight. Thank you, JD. And everybody, please, as you come in, make sure you hit that like button. As my prize, I want Terrell drinking brown liquor all through the recap tonight.
You know, JD, I would love to, but I still have work I have to do after we get done with this. And so I want to, believe me, after sitting through this episode, I really want to drink, but I still got to work.
Don't we all? Cheers. That's why you drink. That's why you switch up to white. Brown makes you get down. White makes it all right. Okay. I don't know, I just made that up. And Sophia just wants to jump and says, hello, too funny. You should watch You, Me, and My Ex. That show is crazy. Don't review it, though.
I don't think my brain could take another reality show while watching these.
No, this is just for you to watch just for enjoyment. That's what she's saying.
But it's going to be a while. Like, I'm going to need a little bit of ginger, like a palate cleanser, before I can take on something else.
Well, before you cleanse your palate, let's jump into this episode. These 2 episodes, this dual episode that we're doing here of 90 Day Fiance, Love in Paradise. Let's start with VaLentine, Carlos and VaLentine down in Barranquilla, Colombia. VaLentine finally heading to Colombia because first episode we saw him just sitting at the crib and talking about here's what the issues are, here's where we stand. How are you feeling about them meeting in the airport?
I like the shirts. I mean, I thought that was cute. That's cool. Carlentine thing. Mm-hmm. But it sounds like they have a whole lot more to talk about than what I learned in episode 1. I thought, okay, that's one thing. Y'all had a big fight. You broke up, called the wedding off. Now you're back. And then now the conversation they had in the car, I'm like, wow, y'all have a lot to discuss.
Here's what you missed from last season, right? When we were introduced to them the first time, we find out as they meet for the first time, they're both tops. And like, well, how's this going to work? because nobody wants to get on the bottom. And as you find out from this conversation they're having. So I was like, the whole time I'm watching that scene, I'm like, I wonder what Terrell's thinking right now.
I mean, as a straight male, it's just something I don't think about. It's not a conversation I've ever had. And so
Hey, baby,
as they're
which side
saying
do you
it,
want?
as they're saying it, I was just like, I guess that would be a conversation. And then it was like how they were talking about it, because they both have trust issues. They think the other one's not going to do it.
That's what's my point.
That's what made me laugh. I'm like,
It's funny because you and I found the exact same thing. It's like, the conversation, again, not a conversation you normally have as a straight man, right? So you're hearing this conversation and it sounds weird, but then you hear the relatability in it, because all of a sudden they don't trust each other. Like, I'm afraid if I try it, then he's not going to do it. I'm like, yo, and y'all are supposed to get the breaking up over the ex-girlfriend thing isn't even that bad. Y'all really just don't trust each other. Are you serious?
well, and I would have thought they already had sex by now, and apparently they haven't, at least not in this sense. I'm sure they've done things, but they haven't actually. And so it was just funny the way they were. We can start like with the finger and see what that does, or I bought some toys like to ease their way into it.
No, you.
Well, I mean,
here, you take it.
I mean, it's a very interesting conversation that I just wasn't prepared for. And then as I'm listening to it, I'm like, how do y'all figure this out? Like, and then how do you work on the trust? Like, once one person does it, what if the other person doesn't want to? Well, you can't go prison rules and just make it happen. You're gonna have to, y'all gonna have to really like work out a chart. Like on Thursday is your day.
Safe for pineapples.
Yeah. So, Sunday we both get a pass. Like, I don't know, like how you work that out.
So it's like I really wanted to see your reaction to this, just because it's just like I haven't watched season 2. I kind of knew it was. Well, I didn't know this was still coming. I thought they'd already taken care of that, right? Because the first thing when I'm first introduced to this couple back in season 2, I'm like, wait a minute. How is this going to work? If you're both tops, how is this going to work?
Like, wouldn't you have that conversation before you got to this point? Like, I figure that's something you would settle way before you got to the "I want to marry you" deal, and then the fact that you both don't trust each other are gonna do it. It totally caught me off guard, because
I'm not laying down for you.
I was expecting the Michelle conversation to come up,
right?
So I'm just sitting there waiting, and then as soon as they start having that conversation, I literally did a slow-mo like, and it was just, and then it hit me. I'm like, y'all have not worked this out by now? I don't know. It was just, it blew my mind that they've not figured this part out, and I wonder how you get over that on top of the tumultuous relationship that they have, and the trust issues they have. Right. This is just a mess. Like, this whole thing is like a disaster.
No channel has a solution. Flip a coin.
Flip a coin. You could.
And whoever loses the first will go, all right, best of 3. Best of 5. Let's do best of 15.
Well, maybe like, you've been in a relationship and you give a little coupon book to your partner. Maybe like they have coupon books. So today you get a bottom coupon. I'm gonna use my bottom coupon card, and then the other person, they got to do it. Or it's like Uno, they can like hit them with a double reverse. Nope, you're.
Oh my God! Hey, Vicky says VaLentine and Carlos are doomed from the get go, and you know what? After this combo, it really does seem that way. As we move on to the next couple, our next doom couple. Let's be honest, none of these couples look like they're gonna make it, man. But Jessica and Juan, right?
Ugh.
The only thing I can think when we first see them, and again, we're covering 2 episodes here, okay? We're covering episode 2 and episode 3. And when we first see him, poor Juan has no idea what he's in for as they're in the car. Now, we got a sneak peek of this in episode 1. But to see it now, he still has no idea what he's in for as he's riding on the way for their week stay at Casablanca.
Yeah.
Which was dope, by the way.
The house was great, and I thought he picked a really good spot. I think there's a lot for the boys to be able to do, so I think he took all that.
Do you think he picked the house because they're white?
I think he just picked the house because he thought it was a nice house in Colombia. Don't think it was like, this is a good place for white people. I don't think that's what he did.
It's a white house, so why not?
I don't think that's what he did. I just think he picked a spot that had a lot of activities.
My bad.
I think he was like, this is very spacious because the kids can go out and play while the adults can play. They have her friend to kind of distract the kids so they can get a little bit of solo time. But
that didn't work.
Yeah, and to live with them for a week, that's a huge step.
It is. You know what? You got to give him props for that. Say, okay, well, let me see how it works, right? Here's the thing I have. And what's happening is what we kind of saw. I kind of foresaw this happening, right? You can see it happening. But before we get to that part, and which was happened the next day when they're doing breakfast, we come to find out as the kids are outside, kicking the ball around, and he's trying to get a little nookie. We find out a little secret that's been going on. Jessica's 2 months pregnant.
I was wondering where they were going with that. Cause I'm like, why is the camera still on? Like, no, that was after they started making out. Cause I just thought the camera was on them a little bit too much. But when I heard that she was 2 months pregnant, I'm like, so this isn't for the kids to find out. This is, hey kids, this is it.
Yeah.
Like, you don't really have a choice.
Exactly.
This is going to be your new dad, and BTW, you're going to have a little brother or sister.
Right.
That just, it blows my mind that decision making. I've talked about it before, and people gave me shit in the comments, but I'm just like, this makes no sense. This makes no sense that you already have two, and you're going to bring. It just makes no sense to me.
Okay. Now, she was. I want to say, was she married before? Or just in a relationship with the dad of the two boys before, right? So it's not like she was out there just all willy nilly, slinging that thing around and popping out kids. So she had two kids. They have the same daddy, unless it's two different men that look exactly the same.
I think they're the same dad.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Now, here it is. She's got a man that she wants to marry, and so here she's in this space. I feel you. The decisions, that's the decision, right? But does it give you a cause for concern when Juan is like, well, I didn't see my life going like this at 29. And, he's 29. She's 29. She's about to have her third kid. Now, guaranteed he's going to have 3 by default, too. But does it give you any cause of concern there?
It does, because he's having to learn about patience. He has these two boys that he's been around them, but I agree. I mean, kids you never know what you're going to get, especially with kids that age. And you're having to adjust to that. And then also being a new dad to a new baby. And I don't know how much he's making slinging cocktails, but he might have to slip a little cocaine in some of those drinks.
He might have been slinging a little more the first part of that.
Give me an old fashioned and a side of an 8-ball. That'll be $500. He's got to make some more money.
Okay, but think about this. He's on the boat. He's eating for free. He's getting tips. He's making money. He's not spending a whole lot of money. That's why. Because think about what she said when they got to Casablanca. She's like, it's a really nice place. I know it because he makes good money on the cruise ship. Because he's not spending a lot of money. You got to think about that part.
Well, he makes good money for a single man on the cruise ship.
True. Yeah,
I don't know about 3 kids.
That's true.
And he's going to be. The plan is for him to move to BFE, Wyoming.
That's which is literally how they described it. And look, the Torrington tourist board is never gonna ask Jessica or her friend to help anybody ever.
Yeah. So if he's gonna move over to Wyoming, I hope he has a good plan, because you got to take care of in a small town. Probably limited amount of jobs. So unless he's going to start working in the cattle business, I don't know. That's cost of living is going to be low there. But yeah.
Okay, and to his credit, he speaks English, so he's not gonna have that English barrier that some of these other people can, right?
Right.
Now, and Sophia has a great point here. She can travel every other month, so she may be the breadwinner. I mean, she obviously the other baby. The son's father is taking care of them as well too, so she does have it's not all on her with finances, right? But I don't think it's just the fact that they described, the cow poop, how the place stink and it's so, and like I said, I've been living in paradise my whole life, and where they're telling me to go is hell, and by hell I mean the devil's spawn is right there, and his name is Dawson. Like Jesus Christ, what is this little kid? What is this little kid's problem? I'd have had to watch his mama looking the other way. Hey.
Well, and I think Juan is seeing a cultural difference.
Very.
Right? When you date outside your race, there's some cultural differences of how some people raise their kids.
Facts.
And how others don't. Because when I don't want eggs, he's like, yeah, you're getting eggs. This is what we're eating. Like when I was little, I couldn't just, Mom, no, that's not what I want.
Right.
Like my mom was like, you got to eat this or you don't eat. And she did that to me once. Left that stuff, put it in the refrigerator. The next day I'm hungry. Boop. Out of the microwave came that same plate I wouldn't eat the day before.
I used to have to sit at the table for hours because me and veggies, we don't get along. I sat at the table for hours with those vegetables on my plate because I'm stubborn as hell, as you know.
Yeah, I do know. It's gonna be your downfall, but that's neither here nor there. So, what I didn't understand, I'm assuming this is all for the show. Mm-hmm. If I was in Juan's shoes, I'd have been like, okay, what do your kids like to eat, so I can stock up groceries for what do they like, and so at least I can have enough stuff for them. If the kid don't want eggs, okay, you have cereal, and then when he goes to make the cereal, why didn't Jessica say, hey, by the way, he doesn't like milk in his cereal. He likes it dry. Just let him do it. And
you know what I'd have brought out with that second bowl of cereal? A bill. Here is what it costs for that first bowl and the milk. Because you owe me for this. Because you could have told me before I got my ass up. Matter of fact, you could have got your ass up and made him. I got it for him. I haven't had my eggs yet. My eggs are cold. But I'm going to go get this for him. You could have told me he doesn't do milk. Why would you let me bring it back? And then let me bring back a whole full bowl where there's a little Dawson. He eats 1/3 of the bowl, maybe 1/4. I'm full. I don't want to eat anymore.
I mean, he's a little boy, just came off this long trip, so probably cranky, needs a nap and an ass whooping. But
if the ass whooping precedes the nap, it'll definitely.
Yeah, that's what I should have did that in different order. He needs an ass whooping and a nap. And then you come back here and eat these eggs.
And the side of cereal that you asked for.
Yeah, and decide if you finish your eggs, I'll give you some cereal, but you eat these eggs.
You're right. He is noticing this cultural difference too, because he's like, I feel like there are no rules in that house.
Yeah, and when he comes to Wyoming, he's got to understand that that's her house. Mm-hmm. Those are her rules.
It's the thing that we did notice in this is that because he said, look, for me growing up, if I said I didn't want something to eat, I'd have to duck the sandal. I'm like, it's like we grew up in the same house.
Yeah. Whereas they do in the Dominican Republic, the chancla. Take that chancla off.
Whatever you can find, whatever's close by.
Yeah, and for her and her friends just to sit there and just watch it all happen. I just feel like this was all production and BS, but still, I don't think I would be okay with. I couldn't do that.
JD says that youngest boy, aka Dawson, aka the Devil's Spawn, is gonna kick Juan's ass. Yes, he is.
He's just being a child, but probably a spoiled child. Yes.
He's the baby. He's the baby boy out of the two. That's the baby. So he gets away with murder for his mom. That's what it is.
Yeah, and I don't think that's how Juan grew up. So this will be interesting.
When you speak of the characters, right? It really, you're really speaking about this next couple, Scott and Lydia.
Ugh.
I know, man. Scott, who looks like his bulldog. I don't think the dog started to look like him. I think he started to look like the dog. But we get to them and realize that Scott hopes Lydia can keep up with him because he's got a high sex drive. As he's talking to his mom, and his mom's like, "Well, you're like your dad. You got a high sex drive." Not the conversation. Mom, stop it. This is not a conversation we need to have.
As I say at work, Mom, I need you to put a pin in that. We're not going to talk about it.
That's what your daddy used to do.
Yeah, I don't need to know about Daddy's stroke. I don't need to know anything about that. Let's just keep that between y'all. And she even said up till he, pretty much up to his death, he was chasing me around. And I'm just like, I don't need to know all that. And
actually,
he
that's
doesn't
how
know.
He died.
He doesn't know how old Lydia is. And so she, to me, looks every part of 56. And, maybe because it's been since 2009 that she has all those backed up miles that she needs to use. Maybe she will be able to keep up. Who knows? I don't know.
Hey,
but he has to be concerned. But a mom knows her son, and her mom was just like, you need someone younger. And you got to understand, when women get older, sometimes sex is not that important. So I think that's going to be an eye-opening experience for Mr. Scott.
Listen to what Lydia said. Lydia was like, look, as a Latina, she goes in, we get excited, we get, very easily. I'm like, okay. So she sounds down and ready, right?
Yeah, until she meets him.
Exactly. I mean,
yeah, it's all great to say over the phone and through video chat.
Yes.
Yeah. It's te quiero mucho. Da, da, da. You can say that all you want.
Yeah.
But now you're in person.
No.
And now, yeah. When all of a sudden the plane lands and a Scott gets out.
Then that universal, that one word that translated every language. No.
No. Yeah, I'm gonna call him a Scott just because I just think it's funny. A Scott.
So before he lands though, Lydia's daughter Nicole takes her. She knows her mom is nervous, about Scott coming in. So what does she do to ease her stress? She gets her a little tipsy with some drinks and takes her out with some of her friends and her mom's stylist, who, of course, it's TV. He's got to be a gay stylist, right? Of course he is. Who's the most sexual out of everybody in that entire setting? And they have probably, again, I don't know what it is about this show and parents, the most inappropriate conversation.
I was annoyed by just the whole giddiness, and I get it. You're trying to make this fun and want to make it like a bachelorette party, but I'm glad that guys, when we do bachelor parties, we don't talk like that or make those high pitched squeals. But I thought it was weird to break out all these toys in front of your mom, and not only that, the cucumber so she could practice. I was like, are you kidding me?
And different sizes just in case.
Just in case, so she can build up to whatever he's working with. I'm just like, that is not mom appropriate conversation. That's nothing I would want to be a part of.
Well, if he's this size,
thought that was weird.
Mama will have to go to the hospital. I'm like, really?
Yeah, it's great. Her and her mom have that kind of relationship and they're close, but that's just weird to me.
Scott lands and lots of laughing, no kissing. One thing I noticed immediately. But my question for you is, does Scott get extra points for learning, un poquito of Spanish?
No, because that's what I was irritated with Scott. So y'all been video chatting for a year and a half. And during that time, you've not taken some Spanish classes. There's apps that you can work on to where his Spanish could be so much better than what it is now.
For a year, yes, you're right.
For a whole year? If you really want to get to know this person, you're depending on your app. And then obviously he doesn't understand technology and Wi-Fi. When you go to another country, you got to do some things to make sure everything works. So
it's the first time, man. It's the first time.
I'm just like, but also on Lydia's side, a year and a half and you couldn't learn some English? Like both of them. If you want to make this work, try learning each other's language. Maybe that would help.
Yeah. Okay. To your point, Lydia has been here for a while. Like Andrew says right here, right? He says Lydia is just there for a check. After destroying her son's marriage and ultimately the show with his wife, she's looking for another meal ticket. Daughter's fame hungry too. Yeah, and it's something about this whole how about this whole family? Like Sophia says, she could have been learning English with Nicole and Dina right there along. Lydia's had years to learn English because Terrell, you are new to Lydia. Everybody else here who's been in this 90-day fiance universe, and I know you took one step into it, but they weren't there. They already started the spin-off shows and whatnot. She's been around because Pedro is her son, and he was on 90 Day Fiance, and they've had lots and lots and lots of seasons and episodes of different shows for them to do with the family, Chantal, and all this other stuff, right? So, yeah, you're right. For them trying to make it work, again, this when you speak of characters, this is who I think of first, because this sounds like it was just made. Well, look, we know people know Lydia. Let's find a way. I don't know who has, what pictures they have of anybody in production or the producers to make sure that they're on every show and keep going. But they love this family so much.
Well, they did, and apparently when they found Scott, they're like, "Hey, we think you'd be great for TV, and we want to help you be famous, but we need you to do us a favor."
Yes.
there's Lydia. Hear me out. Hear me out. I need you to go through this. I know y'all aren't gonna get married, but just trust us on this. This is gonna make you look amazing. So it's just a big scam. That's why I'm looking at this. This is so dumb, and you both can't talk to each other, and then you're at the restaurant.
Wait. Well, before they get to the restaurant, did they question? What do you think about? You think Scott is wrong for questioning the two rooms?
Yes. Yeah. Because I'm like, if y'all been talking for a year and a half, you can't share a room. So you don't think he was wrong for questioning that? No, because I'm like, why wouldn't you? Like, if I fly all the way to the DR to be with you, wouldn't we share the same room? Whether you want to sleep with me or not, like, wouldn't it make sense that we would be in the same room?
Right. So, not saying. So what you're saying, I want to make sure I get this right. So what you're saying is not that we walk in the room, we got to drop our drawers and get it on, but you just say we got to at least be in the same room. Do you snore in your sleep? Because you may snore in Spanish for all I know. It may sound a little different. The R's may roll in your snoring.
How do you snore in Spanish? Just rolling your arms. Oh my goodness! I can't even think of how do you snore in Spanish.
I'm sorry.
Ay 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 ay. Ay 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 ay.
Oh Jesus!
We're going to hell. We're going to hell for that one.
Yep, but you'll be taking the lead.
I'm driving.
Oh my God! Look, they get like you said. After that, they get to the bar, right? And it's like no channel says. Luckily, production put a translator in the bar because, of course, they still can't talk.
Well, and she mentioned this in the car, but also at the restaurant. He's trying to talk. She can't understand anything he's saying. So she's just looking at him just like, smiling. But because it's probably that uncomfortable silence, he just keeps speaking English to someone who can't understand the words that are coming out of your mouth. Stop speaking English. At this point, he should have just went, charades. Figured it out that way.
What's funny is when English speakers trying to talk to somebody else who doesn't understand English break it down to the worst form of English possible. Me, fish, boat, big.
Big fish. Do you, Jim? A lot?
I speak English and I don't understand that shit.
Yeah, but I mean, you talk to them like they're idiots. It's like she's not dumb or not smart. Well, I don't know about all that yet, but still, you can figure out a way to talk to her like she has some sense. So, and this whole translate, and I agree. I think production put a translator there because you just can't go to some other country and be like, "Hey, excuse me, you speak English? Let me buy you a drink." He said, here, do me a favor. Tell her this. And then every joke that he's trying to make, shoo.
Yes. Why did he even try to make those jokes? Why?
I don't know. When you ask her if she'll give me, conjugal visits when I'm in jail. I'm like, dude, what are you talking about? Because some things in English just don't translate to be funny in Spanish, and vice versa in every language.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then, that, of course, kind of soured the whole night. And they get back to the hotel. She acts like she doesn't even want to give him a hug. But he got a kiss, though.
No, he took a kiss. He didn't. There's a difference. If she just stands there and you just put your head in her face, you stole a kiss. She didn't give you a kiss. She barely wanted to hug him. I mean, she was looking at him like he just told her he had COVID. And she's just like,
Yeah. Look, CDO White says she was ready till his jokes fell flat. Do you feel like she was fine until, because he was holding his own on the dance floor for a minute?
I agree. I think he, since his jokes fell flat, she lost it. She just kind of was like, I was going to give him a hug and kiss maybe back at the hotel. But after all this, hard pass. Sophia makes a point. She says the room is on the other side of the hotel, too. You notice he was going up the elevator, right? Because what room for? Wait a minute. Why are we in separate rooms? Not only separate rooms, separate floors. You're not going to sneak over to my room by any chance. You keeping a distance. Put a lot of space between us.
But then, so even though she put that distance and that space, even when the translator came, one of the first questions she asked was the last time you had sex. Was the last, so she was to a point to the city on White's point. She was ready until he got silly with those stupid jokes. Like he ran out of things to say. And fellas, when you run out of things to say, shut up.
We've all been there. We've all talked ourselves out.
Yeah.
If we'd have just shut up, we might have had a good night. But because we kept talking, lost it.
Damn it, man. Thank God I ain't got to worry about that no more. Next couple here. We finally meet these two. Jordan and on your neck of the woods, in the great, the great country of Texas. And the great state of Dallas, and Everton, who is from Jamaica but lives in Grand Cayman. And, Jordan, she makes those custom fetish videos. She's really an eyelash person until COVID hit and decided, let me do something else. And then Everton is the boat captain. They've been on and off for like 12 years. What does this tell you when you hear that first? As a description of these two, what do you think?
On and off for 12 years says a whole lot.
Right.
To me. And Everton, you remember getting those emails from that, prince in Africa somewhere that needs, I get that vibe from Everton. Like we finally got a chance to see. He's a scammer. He's a total scammer. So on and off for 12 years, they've been together for 3. But if you've been together that long, why is Jordan keeping all these secrets from Everton this whole time?
Well, so here's the thing. I question that too, because did she really keep those secrets from him? Because think about it. The pandemic hit, tourism stopped. So him as a boat captain, that stopped. He's in Grand Cayman, which is really not a cheap place anyway. And she took care of him. So if she's taking care of him, making sure he stays afloat, is he really going to question where the money's coming from? And does he really think it's still eyelashes? Because it was illegal. Which, of course, he doesn't know that because he's not in the States to know that part.
Yeah, so that's why I say that he's a scammer.
Okay.
The more... So when Jordan comes on, I'm like, okay, let's hear her story. I'm like, oh, she's a nudist. Okay.
Oh, you sat up straight then, didn't you, on your phone?
I was just like, hey, Jordan. But I was just like, okay, she's a nudist. I got it. And like a nudist to an extreme. Because if I had a kid and they want to do dishes in naked, I bet you better go in the room. Go take a nap.
Put on some goddamn clothes.
Yeah. Get you some sense. Come back in this kitchen. But So the whole nudist thing, I'm like, okay, well, that's a bit of a shocker. And then she's into the doing these fetish videos. I'm like, okay, well, what is she doing? And I'm like, okay, you're sitting on cakes, you're popping balloons, and I get it. There's you're showing armpits because apparently that's a thing that some people like, armpits. And I'm like,
she's an on-demand fetish person. Cause there was not just one that she did. Sitting on the cakes was one thing. I'm like, oh, well, that's what she does. No, it's a bunch of different things.
Bunch of stuff that she does, and I'm like, do your thing. That's what OnlyFans is for. Make your money. I'm not knocking that at all. I couldn't date you, but I'm not knocking it. But as I'm reading all that, I was thinking to myself, okay, I've never been to Jamaica. Well, I have, but not like I was on a cruise. That doesn't really count. You don't get a chance to really
at all. Yeah.
But I'm just thinking to myself, do the men from the islands, are they okay with this? Would they be okay with their women doing that? Because a lot of the guys I know that are from the islands, not counting you, but guys I know that are from the islands tend to be a little possessive.
Possessive or more conservative?
Possessive.
Because she used conservative. She used conservative. Okay, I put it like this. Let's be honest. In this day and age, the Caribbean has been very Americanized. So let's just get that out there. Okay, so he may be more understanding than she thinks, or not.
Well, the money's coming in, and he's able to take care of all the other people that he takes care of. So as I'm listening to her, I'm like, I got to meet this Everton guy, and so I'm looking at him and his story. Okay, he's a boat captain. She took care of him. Like, of course he's going to be happy. And then the fact that she was giving him money, I thought was crazy. When her friends show up, she opens the door. I'm like, are you kidding me? I get it.
And if you're such a nudist and you like to wash dishes and do everything nude, why are you cooking with an apron on?
Well, you don't want to get grease. You know, she's frying chicken.
Do you really think she was frying chicken?
I'm just saying.
Everton was not there.
Just saying, maybe she was cooking and didn't want to get any grease to splatter.
Okay.
You know, on her. So I get that. But then she takes the level of crazy up a notch by saying that she took out an equity loan to buy this property in Grand Cayman and gave him power of attorney.
Yes.
Because he has a plan and he is. That sounds like something a pimp would do. Look, baby, here's the deal. I got a plan. I'm going to be the new king. Here's what I need from you. I need this much money every week. And he has, 2 boys from 2 different women. He takes care of his mom financially. He takes care of the boys' mothers. Takes care of the boys. And apparently takes care of anybody else. All with the money that Jordan's giving him. And her friends are looking at her like, bitch, are you crazy?
Look, like JD says, what the hell? She was dumb as bricks to give him power of attorney, though. She says, in her defense, and it's not me defending her. This is if I'm her public defender. So this is not going to be
Advocate Yanni.
In her defense, Your Honor, they're engaged. You know, and the fact they're like, wait a minute, so did he give you a ring? No, but you know, the way we are, we know that we're getting married. We know we're engaged. We think of ourselves. We think of ourselves as engaged.
Yeah, she identifies as engaged. I think that's what it is. That's the new thing now. I identify as being engaged to this man. Mm-hmm. He's doing his own thing, but she gives him power of attorney, and she even says out loud that she has everything to lose. He has everything to gain. Mm-hmm. Why would you be in that relationship?
Yeah, indeed. It's, by the way, just want to point this out because JD says, Terrell, as a part Jamaican woman, hell no, West Indian men would not be okay with their women doing OnlyFans. However, they're freak. Their woman, no. It all depends on what they really see each other as. I mean, again, she's from what I see here, she is a person of opportunity at the moment. During the pandemic, she helped him out. She supported him, and
She's still helping him
everybody else.
out.
Exactly.
So I think this is a money grab for her because to me, there's no way people can look at this and not say, "Girl, you're dumb." If all this is true and you did all this stuff and took a loan out for this business in the Grand Cayman, I just don't buy it whatsoever. And I think she's a little bit, crazy. I can't wait to see more of whatever this voicemail was because she came off that plane
Yes.
crazy. Like I would be scared if you just walk up, "Hi."
Yeah. She came off that plane
Huh.
with no drawers and an attitude. What? Don't act like you didn't see her packing. She had one shirt, one pair of pants, another pair of shoes, and that was it.
Yeah. She is out there and giving and doing a lot for a man that doesn't have any money.
Okay, this is the thing I wanted to find out too. I was going to ask you this question. DJ asked it. What the hell was the phone call she received about?
That's what I want to know too.
Money or cheating?
I think it's one of the baby mamas.
Okay,
That's my thought. Because if he was just randomly cheating, yeah, and who knows, it could be that, but I think it's one of the baby mamas. Whatever it is, it's something that set her off.
Yeah,
To where she has crazy eyes. Like, dude, I wouldn't even be able to sleep.
them eyes
Next to
were extra blue, and that was.
I'd be nervous. No hug. I haven't seen you. Whatever. It's just, oh hey.
Oh yeah, no, you could tell he was nervous when they were standing outside the airport. Where it's nice and hot. Instead of in the AC part, they go stand them outside, and they always do this whenever somebody arrives. Stand outside. All right, tell us how you feel. I'm happy she's here. Yeah, it's gonna be a good time. Yeah.
So I'm sure he knows why she's mad.
Yeah.
So we just got to wait to find out next week. But this is just a hot mess. And I think that this is great for her for TV and get her social media followers up and more people to subscribe to her OnlyFans if that's her goal. But you can't
you
tell
already
me
found
this
it?
is all love. No.
Okay, just checking.
No. I was waiting for you to send me the link.
After the live stream. So if we get to our last couple here that we met in episode 2 and episode 3, April, from again the state of Houston in the great country of Texas, and VaLentine, not to be confused with VaLentine. The young buck, she got her, the cougar got her a nice little young buck out of the Dominican Republic. Apparently, that's where you go to get old folks and young folks too. Okay. Now, April is the doctor with a law degree, gym owner, luxury car dealership owner, and he's the personal trainer.
Hey, he works.
He does.
Don't knock him.
Pedro is from the Dominican Republic. All he did was play video games. So this guy's got a job. Look, this is an upgrade. She's got the upgrade, and she's an upgrade too. Because Chantal, I think, correct me if I'm wrong. Someone in the live chat, Chantal, I think, was a nurse or was she an RN? This is a full-fledged doctor here.
So 12-year age gap, right? And she's doing very well for herself, very well educated. So maybe she wants to play what the traditional man role is, where she's the provider and she has a partner who mainly focuses their attention on her. Because some guys who are really successful, they want that. She put out that trophy wife,
Right.
someone that's just going to be beautiful
She
and
did
be
say that, yes.
into whatever that they like. So maybe she's just flipping it and she wants that. And if that's the case, you do you. But so when I first heard that story and I'm thinking to myself, okay, great. Then you get a chance to meet VaLentine and I'm like, wait a minute. He knows speak of the goddamn English either. So y'all been talking this time. What is her Spanish? What is his English like?
How is he at a
don't
resort?
understand.
A personal obviously he's not a personal trainer at the resort because you can't be and not speak any English, right?
No. You can.
Really?
I think you can. You could be a personal trainer and not speaking English. If I'm telling you to do this, jumping jacks. Maybe he's talking to them the way Americans talk to people who don't speak English. You. This. Yeah. Dos veces. I mean, twice. Two. So I just wondered, like, what got her to this place? Because I wonder what her previous dating relationships were like, because you have it all together. Mm-hmm. Who have you been talking to in your past that made you say, you know what, I'm going to roll the dice and build a business with this person and send him money because he's asking for money. So another scammer.
Mm-hmm. You know what it is? Here's the thing about it. And I think she gave us the clues to this, right? Because she says, I've dated doctors before. And, you know, women doctors are going to date other doctors first, right? But the men, they have their options. You're a male doctor, you got some options. It's like being a rapper. You got options because people are looking for the lawyer, for the doctor, and all this. So, and that's what she said. They want the trophy wife, not somebody who's going to do this. And maybe that's, she just didn't meet a lot of good guys, and this is one that she figured was a good guy for her, right? I do want to point out that thank you everybody for letting this be known that. Chantal was a nurse, or is a nurse. Sedan's fan says Pedro is a bum. he played video games. What you talking about? And I love this name, by the way, no channel. Dr. Disinfectant. We'll get to that in a minute. But before we get to how Dr. Disinfectant really gets through her stuff, besides disinfecting her man, it's pretty clear as she meets with her sisters. They do not play tennis on the regular and never have. They never have. And look, I'm going to tell you something here. That's one of the first sports I played. They've never played. They've never played in their life.
Hey, I want to meet you where? Fine. Fine. I ain't gonna like it, but fine. We'll do this for you.
I thought at least she would have some. No, she couldn't hit the ball either. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Them are her stepsisters too, by the way.
So she's kept this whole relationship secret from her sisters for a long time. And that's why I always felt, okay, if you're keeping something secret, then this is wrong or doesn't make sense. It's not like, hey, I'm, dating a white man and, I'm black and y'all aren't going to like that. This isn't guess who's coming to dinner. This is, I'm dating somebody in the Dominican Republic. This is why I've been going back and forth. And he doesn't speak English. And I give him money. And they're like, the questions they had, I thought were spot on. And then when she said, well, look, he really appreciates me. And all them like, yeah, of course he appreciates you. You send him money.
Oh, like DJ said, he hit the lottery.
Yeah.
Everybody likes the lottery when they win.
Yeah, of course he appreciates you. You're sending him money. Even if it'd be one thing if she was like, you know what, I'm going to send you some money because I want to help you out. He's asking for money.
Yeah. Yeah. Look, if you've talked about the power dynamic in relationships before, right? And there's some women who like to have that power dynamic, right? They like to be in charge and say, I'm taking care of this, right? And maybe that's one of her things. And okay. She wants him to move because she likes her life in Houston. Come to Houston, right? Now, apparently he's going to have to learn how to speak English at some point in time. He should have.
Not in Houston. He could live in Houston and only speak Spanish.
Oh, that's true. My bad. Yeah, I forgot.
This is not Wyoming.
In the country of
This
Texas,
is
it's the two languages in the country of Texas. Well, actually three: English, Spanish, and get the hell out of here. Because you still got those folks there. But at the same time, then maybe he runs her. He can run her gym. He's a personal trainer. She owns a number of fitness. This could work, folks. This could actually work. Okay.
Not seeing it. And we don't know, does he want kids? Because she's 38. So she's getting to that. But now, she could totally have kids at 38, be fine if she wanted to have them. And she's successful, has enough, money that she could probably take care of someone. But as we've seen these 90-day fiancés, he just can't hop on a plane, come to Houston, and start working legally. So there's that. So she could pay him under the
free
table.
exercises, free tutorials in the gym, because like Dina says here in Houston, Texas, it's muy español.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, he could be fine here, but the communication gap between the two of you, how are you going to have these deep conversations about goals and finances, and you're really depending on a translation app?
Right.
Or Google Translate to be able to do that. I wouldn't have the patience to just sit there, yeah. I would be bored. I'm like, if you can't talk to me, we can't do this.
Look, all them degrees she had, one of them should have been in Spanish if this is what she wanted.
And y'all been talking a year. She's super smart.
Yes.
And maybe she knows Spanish, and maybe we just haven't got to that part.
So that's no, because she said she doesn't. I mean, she said they use the translator apps. Here's the difference between her and Chantal, right? So Chantal, what she did, which is not even her real name anyway, but that was her name for TV. But she spoke Spanish. So when she had a man who his English was probably as good as Scott's Spanish in the very beginning, at least she could communicate. And when she needs to, she could communicate with the entire family. There's a big difference. At least there's that. I don't understand these couples that don't speak the language of the other person at all, and not trying to. Are you kidding me? The conversation you could have in front of everybody else if y'all speak a different language together?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know how they pull it off. And what are they video chatting about? I just don't see how. I couldn't do it. I don't have the patience for it. But whatever happened in her previous relationships got her to this point. And I'm just curious, like, who hurt you? Like, what happened? A lot of good, successful people of all races in Houston. And there are a lot of people in Houston that don't speak English.
So she
but they're in Houston. So there are some, I'm sure there's some Hispanic, Latino fitness trainers in Houston that don't.
And she didn't want anybody in Houston. She could have gone to San Antonio. San Antonio is
go down a couple hours away. So I just don't understand, why do you make this hard on yourself? And then when she flies there, her whole routine on the plane, that would just drive me crazy.
Well, I know what drove you crazy first. I know you talk about the routine on the plane, but when she went from 1 suitcase to 3.
Why would that drive me crazy?
You don't like to overpack.
Oh, I am smart about how I pack, but I always go prepared. And she's going to another country for a couple of weeks. It makes sense that you would have that much. She's not like the nudist that just needs one bag.
Yeah, well, she needs a bag of disinfectants, as we saw. She used a whole can, a whole container of wipes on her first class seat.
You can wipe all those airplane seats you want to. You're not going to get all those germs off. Just embrace yourself. And if you're going to the Dominican Republic, and you're going to go see his family that doesn't live in the nice part of the Dominican Republic. So how are you going to handle that?
As a matter of fact, JD says just wait until she sees us home from the taxi, because Dr. Germaphobe sure as hell is not getting out.
So we're going to hear? For real?
Yeah, no. This is going to be an interesting one. I like how his family's like, well, she shouldn't be worried about where you're from if she loves you for who you are. It's going to be interesting to see this. And you can see why, if this was Married at First Sight, you can see why they matched them. Because you want to see somebody getting past the things that they look. Because she's a big germaphobe, but yet at the same time, here's this, right? So it'll be interesting to see how this goes, man. I think it's going to be. Here we are, 3 episodes in. We just got done with episodes 2 and 3. Looking forward to the rest of the season. How are you feeling about it?
This is just going to be a hot mess. That's all this is. It's just a hot mess of just characters and actors. I like when they're really looking for love. You're going to try to fool me on a reality show. At least show me that there's the love part. Next thing we got to do is now we got to go internet stalk April to see if she's in any sororities. So let's see if we can make fun of that.
But if you had to guess, no, let's not do that.
No, I wouldn't.
We're both gonna guess the same one, but I'm gonna leave it alone.
I'd probably say AO Pie or something like that. I don't think she joined a black sorority.
Her sisters did.
Because her sisters are going to be like, hey, boo, can we talk to you?
Oh, man. Hey, don't forget, tomorrow, episode 131 drops tomorrow night. That's going to be there tomorrow night right here on YouTube. And then Wednesday, we're back, Married at First Sight recap. So, and we're working on something on some of those past seasons. So we'll talk about that as well, too. All right? Another long season to go, brother.
This is going to be a pain in the ass. What if I can start booking some work travel on Mondays and be like, oh, Yanni, I gotta go to Phoenix again. My bad.
Well, then Tuesday we'll do it.
Yeah, put a pin in that.
Hey, if you're still hanging out here, we appreciate you. Make sure you hit the like button for us. And if you're watching this on the replay, hey, make sure you drop a comment in there too, man. We want to hear from you as well. And if you're on the app, appreciate you. Make sure you're listening on a podcast platform. Make sure you drop a review. We appreciate it. Rate and review. And please, guys, we really appreciate you. So thank you for coming along this journey with us. And thank you for forcing Terrell to do it because he actually really loves it. He's just pretending like he doesn't.
No, I don't.
Yeah, you do.
Not at all. No, this is crap. This is crap.
Hey,
this is almost worse than the other one that I won't name anymore.
Yeah, be careful because people are already begging for that one.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm Yanni Rude.
And I'm Just Terrell.
Make sure you follow us at Yanni Rude, at Just Terrell, and at RGRT Pod.
Yeah, send us some of your random thoughts or some of the bullshit you find on the internet. We'll talk about it on the regular show.
It's the Regular Guys Random Thoughts Podcast. Cheers.
Cheers.